Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to the Productive Wellbeing Show with me, your host, Abigail Barnes, and today is episode number 63. And today I am joined by the absolutely amazing Danielle Francis. Danielle is a multi-award-winning EA. She's currently working for the EMEA and Asia APAC Chairman at a management consultancy called Ankura. And she is going to be sharing some top tips for managing your mental health and remaining productive working from home, as well as giving us a bit of an overview of her story. So she's going to very bravely tell us about her own mental health journey. So Danielle, welcome to the show. It's so awesome to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me, Abigail. I'm really excited. Nervous, but excited.
Me too. I'm always excited. So guys, if you're watching on the replay, say replay. If you're with us live, say hi, say live, tell us where you're from, because we always love these conversations to be interactive. This is not scripted. So if you have any questions, put them in the comment box because we will get to them. If any of this is resonating with you, then please let us know this. And anything that anybody says, hit that like button, because we're in a virtual world now and the like button's kind of like clapping in the real world, but we're not. So Danielle, tell us a little bit about your mental health journey, and thank you so much for being brave enough to share it to start with.
That's fine. It's actually the first time I've spoken completely openly about it, especially to an external audience. So do bear with me. But my mental health journey started a couple of years ago when I started to have incredibly anxious moments, some very depressed moments, really unhappy times when I was younger. And I found that it's got worse with age. Funny enough, because I didn't have anything when I was younger. I was totally fine, as they say. So it started around my early 20s, and I actually went to the doctor and spoke to them about how I was feeling and all these sorts of things. And they diagnosed me with anxiety with depression, which is quite unusual for me because I'm normally quite a happy, outgoing, bubbly kind of person. But it's just kind of more of a hidden side of me, I guess, I have. And then, as I said, it's slowly got worse with age. And just under 2 years ago, my mum passed away. So she diagnosed with cancer and had 4 years to live when we got the diagnosis. And I kind of instantly went into PAEA mode, organised all the funeral, organised all these things for her, sorted out her will and all these things while she was still alive. We did sort of together and sorted out where she wanted her clothes to go and all those types of bits. And so I didn't really consciously take in a lot of what was going on. But I did start having some therapy through the doctor to kind of deal with what was happening, what was going on, and some other issues that I was kind of having at the time. And I felt a lot better. So I stopped my therapy, and then I don't know if anyone else has experienced this, but my mum actually died at home, not in hospice. So you see someone slowly deteriorate, which is really, really difficult to watch. And it kind of speeds up towards the end. So her worst time was probably the last 4 to 6 months. And then when she passed, I kind of went into autopilot with getting everything organised that her and I had discussed and, getting all those things done. And I took a couple of weeks off work and we had the funeral and all the usual things that you have. And then I went back to work and I was fine for a couple of months, and then I think everything just hit me about 2 or 3 months down the line, and I basically had a mental breakdown. I really, really suffered and didn't see it coming, and it just basically everything got very overwhelming all at once. And I recognised that I needed to just take some time out, I think, because I'd been on autopilot with everything that had happened. I hadn't really been looking after myself mentally. So I spoke to my work about taking a career break. I had quite a lot of annual leave, and I spoke to my dad about it as well. And I ended up taking 3 months off. And I have to say it was the best thing I ever did. I didn't think about work. My job was secure, luckily, for me to go back to. And I just filled those 3 months with things that made me happy, things that were important to me. I travelled a lot. I started therapy again. bereavement therapy specifically this time, which has taught me a lot of tools that I'm going to share later, actually. And I really started to take time to be with certain friends. A lot of my friends had babies, so I got to go and have lunch and meet all their babies, and I spent lots of time with my dad, and just completely changed my routine for those 3 months. And it was so healing, I would say. Really healing. I did lots of yoga. I went on a holiday almost every month. I went on lots of little trips. I went to a spa every month. Some days I just lay in bed all day, but it was just nice to have all that time to myself, and it wasn't about anyone else but me. And I recovered really well, but I also had to then set out a recovery plan that I still have to continue all the time now to not get back to that place. And yeah, since then I got a new job, which was actually one of the goals I set when I was off and with my therapist. I got a new job. I've been there a year, and my mental health's in a much better place. And I have to say, with lockdown, I've managed to use a lot of the tools that I learned from being in therapy and from taking that time to actually make sure that lockdown hasn't affected me that badly. I know that it's been quite a big thing for people with mental health problems and without, have been concerned about lockdown. But actually, I've been in a privileged position to actually know and to recognise triggers and that kind of thing. So I am in quite a good place with it now, thankfully. And it's just about day-to-day management. It's something that I'm always going to have. It's never going to go away. I unfortunately don't have triggers, which makes it slightly harder to manage because I don't have triggers for my anxiety. I do tend to get it worse in the mornings, and it does sometimes cause me sleep problems. So that is where I do struggle sometimes as well. But I've just really taken the time to kind of learn more about myself and manage it and my condition. And the more openly I speak about it, the more comfortable I am with having these issues and actually sharing what helps me. And lots of other people suffer similar, and lots of people would say to me they didn't even know that I had anything wrong in the first place, which is nice to hear. Probably thanks to my medication. It works very well. That's something I always say to people. I do take medication. I don't have any shame in saying that I take medication, because it keeps me on the straight and narrow. It's for a purpose. Having a mental health problem is the same as having any disability. It's just not visible. And if someone was disabled and needed a walking stick, you wouldn't tell them not to use the walking stick. So for me, I have to take medication, and it keeps me on a good space. So that's something else that I would just say to people. If anyone is worried about that or doesn't want to go on medication, I would say that you can try other tools, but just do what's best for you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And guys, this is not to be underestimated. Publicly talking about this kind of thing, and especially where it's such a sad loss. So thank you for sharing that as well. I'm sure many of the people who are watching this can identify with certain bits of your story, having probably lost other family members or maybe struggling with anxiety and overwhelm and these kinds of feelings. So thank you for making it okay and having this conversation with us and sharing it, because it's not something that can be seen. And people do make this assumption that, oh, well, you're multi-award winning, you're fine, you work for these companies, you're fine, you live here, you look like this, your social media XYZ. People make these assumptions and then use these assumptions to justify what is wrong with them and why they don't feel and that there must be something wrong with them. So thank you for having this and getting this conversation out there. And it's so brave to do it, because vulnerability really creates the connection. And the intention of this episode is that the person that needs to hear this message today, or whenever you watch this on the replay, gets the message that it's okay not to be okay, and gets the message that it's okay to ask for help, it's okay to try different things. And so Danielle's now going to share what she or I call the magic toolbox, because I also have my own magic toolbox that helps me, but Danielle's going to share her magic toolbox with us today. So what are 3 or 4 things that are your daily go-tos that you can recommend for us?
So a lot of this I learned in therapy, and I know it might sound so straightforward, some of it, but I think, we all have busy lives and we don't necessarily take time to do some of these things. So even if they sound straightforward, I'm telling you, these are some of my go-tos that helped me. The first one I would say is make a list of goals. So when I started my therapy at the start of, was it last year? Yeah, start of last year, we made a list of goals, long and short term, of what I wanted to achieve, not just personally, but it could be about anything. So one of them was that I wanted to travel more. I wanted to go to a few more countries. I wanted to clear out my loft, which I know sounds ridiculous, but that was one of the things on my list. I wanted to be going to the gym at least 3 or 4 times a week. I'm trying to remember what else was on my list. I've probably got it somewhere. Like I wanted a new job. That was one of them. I wanted to finish a training course that I started and hadn't knuckled down to do. I wanted to redo my kitchen, just like my kitchen appliances. I wanted to get rid of and change colours.
What colour did you go for?
Black. So everything's black and white, but I had things. So my list was all different things. It was professional, it was personal, it was leisure, all these things. And those were kind of my goals for the next 3-4 months. And during therapy, we then didn't actually go back to it until the end of my therapy. And the funniest thing is, without knowing it, I had ticked off so many of the things on my goals list. And it is one of the most satisfying feelings. I think lots of people do daily to-do lists, but try and do a bit more long-term. Because when we sat there and we were like, okay, therapy is kind of ending. You've done 3 months now. Let's see how you've done. Did you declutter your loft? I was like, yes. So did you go on trips? I was like, I've been on 5 trips. So yes. How many times do you go in a week to the gym? I was like, about 4 or 5 at this point. She's like, well, your goal was 3. So you're actually, going further than your goal. And those kind of things. It was like just amazing. It's amazing to look back. And I would really recommend, I think lots of people use mood boards or, they're trying to think of these long-term 5-year goals, but actually think of some short-term goals that really make you feel happy and are things that you want to do, whether you want to learn something new, learn a language, anything. So I would say a list of goals is a big...
But sorry, just to interrupt you. And I think that this tip is so useful also to be applied to where we are right now, because so many people are feeling frustrated. They can't really control anything. They can't plan anything. They don't know what to do. But Danielle's list will help you to figure out what you could change in your environment, what you could change at home, what you could actually control. Could you plant some plants? Could you start a garden? What could you do?
Yeah, so like one of my goals, so I did this at the start of lockdown. So one of them was I want to get a new bed, but I've got drawers under my bed, so I need to sort through them all before I can get a new bed. I've got 1 drawer left to go. So that's one of my things. I wanted to learn to do the splits, which I know sounds insane, but like I would never focus on that because normally if I go to the gym, I'm running or I'm doing weights, but I don't really stretch and I do yoga, but not a huge amount. So I was like, okay, every night now I do a little bit of stretching and I'm closer and closer to learning to do the splits. So really funny goals, but just different goals to have. Another top tip is to declutter. Declutter, and that can mean in any sense. So declutter your home. Another thing I did at the start of lockdown actually is I went through all of my books and DVDs and CDs, and I did Music Magpie on an app, scanned them all, put them in a box, sent them off and got some money for them, and just got rid of things because so much I do online now. I listen to music online. I will books and recipes and things. I'll look online, to be honest. So these things are just building up in my home. And so I did that. I cleared out my pots and pans. I did my winter wardrobe, completely cleared it out, gave lots to charity. I'm in the middle of doing my summer wardrobe. But those kind of things, if you declutter your home and everything is much clearer, it actually declutters your mind because you're not thinking about all these different things you wish you'd done. And it just gives you a much clearer canvas. I found that for my anxiety, I need quite a clear canvas. That's one of the reasons actually during my time when I took time off, I redid my kitchen. It's because all my tea, coffee, sugar, appliances were see-through. That was the look that I wanted when I moved into my flat. I actually ended up finding that increased my anxiety because it looked messy. And I could see all the tea bags and I could see the coffee in the pot. And I didn't realise it at the time when I got them all, but I was like, that's actually such a small thing. But getting it black and matte now, and I can't see it, it clears my mind more. And just things like that, I would say decluttering in any sense is brilliant for that. Plus you can give to charity, you can give away, those kind of things. And my other tip is to really look after your well-being. And this can be in all different levels. Everyone has different outlets of what works for them well-being wise. So I've been doing lots of meditation, just 10-minute meditations every day, which for me is very calming. I like to do them in the morning. Some people like to do them at night. It all depends. But there's lots of free apps and things that you can find online to do meditation. I've been doing my stretching, and I've been doing lots more yoga as well. I have actually bought a bike from Argos, which was brilliant. And I've been trying to do a bit of cycling because I'm not a big runner and it hasn't been great weather. So I've been finding, okay, if I sit down and I make sure I cycle, it again gets that energy levels, get the adrenaline pumping. So whatever works for you, I would say really look after your well-being and find something you enjoy doing, whatever it is, and take time to do it. I've done a lot more walking than ever before. I've actually discovered a lot more about where I live, because where it has been sunny, I've gone for long 2-3 hour walks. And that's been really, really calming for me, which is something I never would have done before because I always went to the gym. So I would never have gone for a walk. It just wasn't something I needed to do. And now actually it's something I hope I keep up after lockdown. So those are my 3. It's list of goals, declutter your house, declutter your mind, and look after your well-being.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing those. Guys, any questions for Danielle, drop them in the comments now, because we have got a bit of time to answer those. If there's anything that she said that you missed, I just also want to come back to those points that Danielle made. It may sound really simple, some of the try this, do that, but the success is in the simplicity. You can't read a book about what to do. You can't watch a TV show. You can't do a Pinterest board. You can't do things like, you actually need to physically do it in order to be able to get the result. And this is what I love about these tips that Danielle shared. They're so simple, they're so accessible, but don't underestimate the fact that they're so simple as meaning that they won't have any result. They have a massive, massive result. And I love that Danielle mentioned about clearing things out, clear space in your head. I'm such a huge fan of the minimalist lifestyle. Now, I went to an extreme with the minimalist lifestyle and literally got rid of everything. And that was kind of a bit crazy. And I've started bringing things back into my life because we do live in a physical world. But it's so important to sort of notice how these things can impact. Let me just see, somebody's put a comment there. Goals, I know this sounds crazy, but let me put it up, see if you can see it. I know this sounds crazy, but can you elaborate on the goals? I'm not sure if I can come up with some. I have so much that needs to be done. How can I clarify my goals? So just run through a few of your maybe goals that you're doing right now and things that you did in the past that really worked.
I would definitely recommend, if you have got so many, write them all down, because it doesn't matter if you have too many. That's not a problem. It's not, there's no, one thing I didn't say with the goals that I should have said is that there's no time limit on the goals. So although I'm saying short term, you can write as many as you want and you'll end up doing them in a different order as well. So it doesn't have to be order of priority. It just needs to be things that you want to achieve personally or professionally. And one of them might be declustering your home, like we spoke about. And that could be one of your goals. One of them might be that you want to go out for a walk every day, or you want to be able to run further if you work out. Or, you know, for me, like I said, I want to be able to learn to do the splits. It might be something to do with stretching or yoga, or you want to start with a 5-minute meditation and eventually be able to do 30 minutes meditation. It can completely vary your goals. Some of them might just be that you want to see your family more. You know, you want to have video calls with family you might have across the world more, or it can literally be anything. But I would just say, don't worry about only having 2 or 3 goals. Write down as many as you have. My list, if I could find it, I would have shown you. But I had probably, I think, about 12 goals. And obviously my therapy was only 3 months. And she was like, you probably won't do all of this in 12 months, like in 3 months. But write what you want to achieve. And funny enough, the one where I said I wanted a new job, I didn't achieve that in the 3 months, but I did within 6. So by the time I went back to work, I actually only went back to work for 3 months, and I got a new job and I was off. So it's not about limiting yourself, but it's just really trying to get things out of here and written down, and just saying, okay. And it sometimes, even if you wake up in the night and you think, oh, I want to do that, get that written down. It can be anything. You know, some people want to learn a language, which I would love to be like bilingual. I've tried. Unfortunately, I really struggle with picking up languages, but
I can say hello and goodbye in quite a number of languages, but that's about it.
Mine's Spanish. I can do the basics, but I would love to be fluent in Spanish. And I really have tried, but it just doesn't work for me. Whereas there's other goals that do. So that's the other thing, is don't punish yourself. But I've done some online training that I wanted to do for work and professionally to just achieve more, all different goals, really.
And I would say as well, it is helpful if you split them into work goals, home goals, yes, relationship goals, so that then you can sort of see the progress and prioritize them. Because if you've got too many goals, it can be a question of, well, where do I start? Or you start in the place that matters the most. So if you've not got enough time for friends and stuff like that because you're working too much, what could your goal be? Work less, or become more productive, or say no more, push back.
And be realistic with them. You know, if you want to increase your running, it's not that you want to suddenly join the Olympics. It's just you'd like to increase your running time. You know, don't set things that you're never going to achieve, because it won't give you the satisfaction. But if you set small goals, I find it, when you then come back to it and then tick 1, 1, 1, 1 off your list, it's the best feeling.
I love doing it. It's a really weird thing. It's almost like the brain seems to say to you, no, it's okay, I can hold it all in my head, I've got this. But I notice my anxiety trips if something else comes in to be added. And then my mind says, write it down. Mm-hmm. And I write everything down and I suddenly feel better. And I will still even do it now, and I know it. So the whole thing is like, it doesn't matter what you know, it matters what you do. And even if you know and you don't do it, so it almost has to become like a gym exercise, like you clean your teeth every day, you write your things down every day.
And something they did say to me actually in therapy as well is to physically write it down, which I did. And she made me write it. The therapist wouldn't write it for me, although we were talking about it. She made me write it, because we live so much with technology now, and writing quick things on our phone and things like that. It's not as meaningful as writing a personal list yourself. And something works in the brain when you then write it down. It sends a trigger. So physically write down your list, and then physically don't go back to it every day. You know, give it a month or so, or 2 months. I mean, I'd waited 3 months and then I went back to it, and actually there was a lot that I could tick off. You know, but don't feel like it's not a to-do list. Those are very different. It's not a to-do list, it's a goals list.
I love this. I love it. So good. So Beth is saying, yeah, that's perfect. That answered her question. So let's have a quick little hello to who's in the house. Hi to Jenny, Amanda, Louise, Charles, Karima, Sarah, Andy Parks, Beth, Amanda. I said Amanda. So awesome to have you guys with us live, and I'm super excited for the people who are going to get to watch this on replay, because we've got people that love to tune into the show from all around the world and aren't able to do it on the time zone that the show is live. So if you guys do have any questions or anything comes up and you're watching this, Danielle has promised that she will come back and check in. And she's also said very kindly, if like you resonate with anything or want any tips or advice, send her a DM. She hangs out on LinkedIn. This is her background. So Danielle, thank you so much for your time, for your vulnerability, for your honesty, for sharing this your story with us and starting a conversation to help to inspire others that it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay to do whatever is necessary and ask for help to manage your mindset and your mental health. So thank you.
Yeah, please do speak out. Please do speak up. I think you'd be surprised as well, and I have been, where I've been more open and honest now about how many people are aware and will be supportive. It's not got the stigma that it used to have. And I used to hide a lot of what was going on, and I'm in such a better place now. I do speak about it. So please, if anyone is suffering or has any moments, do reach out, do be honest, do speak up. If you need to go to the doctor, go to the doctor. There is no shame, like Abigail says, in not being okay.
Yeah, there is the only thing that matters in this life is that you feel okay, and it's incumbent upon you, the individual, us, to do whatever it takes to be okay. Now, if you've loved this session, remember I said hit the like button, the love button, the whatever button is resonating with you. LinkedIn has so many buttons these days. Or if you're watching on Facebook, give us some hearts. We love this. I said this to Danielle before we started, just so it's not like I get people on the show to share their stuff. I'll be sharing my mental health journey with you on a future episode of the show as well, just to kind of reiterate that everybody's going through their own thing, and it's not that it's just life now, really. So yeah, amazing. Well, guys, until next time, stay safe, stay well, and don't forget to keep washing those hands. See you soon.
Bye.